This is the true story of a New York City boy with big town hopes and small neighborhood dreams of becoming BFFs with the Real Housewives and other Bravo celebrities. Then, one day, that dream actually came true. Let me take you behind the velvet rope.
No problem. No rush.
Hey everyone, welcome back behind the velvet rope. Let's just get right into it today because we are joined by the one, the only Ms. Sugar Cane.
Yes! Hello, David. Thank you so much for having me today. Hello, listeners.
Thank you for being here. Okay, what are you up to, first of all, and where are you, second of all?
Well, I am in New York City. It is snowing today, which is so beautiful because it's the holidays. But yeah, I'm in my apartment in New York City, and I am, like everyone else, locked up in the house, doing this whole isolation shenanigans and trying to stay safe and healthy. So, that's all we can do, I guess, right?
Well, if you saw, I looked out the window when you said snow, because I am also in New York City. I am in Chelsea.
Work.
Where are you in New York?
I am in Harlem, so up north on 130th. So it's been like snowing off and on. Not really sticking, but the flurries are there and it's beautifully romantic.
We are going to have a major snowstorm this week, just FYI. Just letting you know.
Look, I'm excited because I don't leave my house. We order everything to come to us and we're just here. So Mother Nature, snow all you want.
I agree. So I have friends that don't live in New York that keep me, because I don't really watch the news anymore. It's all the same. So yesterday night, these friends were like, you realize tomorrow New York inside dining closes. And are you I'm like, girl, it's the same. It doesn't make any difference to me whether it's open or not. I don't leave the house. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's all the same. But New York dining was taken away inside today, in case you're wondering.
Well, thank you for that. We cook. So it's just, I'm not trying to get COVID.
Have you been in New York this whole time, or did you escape like everyone else for a minute?
I have not been in New York the entire time. So at the beginning of COVID, I was traveling and working. So I ended up, my last city was in Puerto Vallarta. I was in Mexico when all this went down. And
wow.
I mean, I was on the beach. It was beautiful. I didn't really understand the gravity of the situation. So I had plans to stay there for a month. I was going to extend my stay. But my sisters are kind of wild. So they kind of convinced me to come back to the States. And so I actually got stuck in Mexico for a week. And then when I came to the States, I was too scared to go to New York because, that's when New York was this hotbed. And
totally.
I heard the girls are waiting in line for up to 6 hours in customs. And I was like, I'm not doing that. So thankfully, my brother had a vacation condo in Arizona. So I spent 4 months in Arizona and then went to California safely and visited my family for a month. So I didn't get to New York till about July.
So you broke it up a little bit.
Yeah. And then when I got here, everything was fine. Everyone in New York City is amazing. Everyone's got masks on. They are doing the social distance thing. I can go running. Well, very not as often, but when I do, I feel safe. My fiance and I, we will drive to a park somewhere out upstate and just enjoy a day trip. So we're lucky in that sense.
That's nice. Now you're not from New York originally, right?
No, originally from California. It's from a little town called Miguel, California. So all my family's out there. But I've been in New York for, I think it'll be 9 years in January. So one more year and I can officially acclaim that I am a New Yorker. So I've been here that long. I'm going to stick it out for that extra year.
10 years is that's the real deal.
Mm-hmm.
With you, you grew up in California. What was childhood like? Yes, she likes to start right at the beginning over here.
Yes.
This is a get to know Sugar Cane, honey. This isn't just about drag race and whatnot.
I'm totally down. My childhood it's a beautiful childhood. My family is absolutely amazing. We lived in this little mountain town in Magalia, I'm focusing on the positives. It was just I had beautiful memories with my family. So yeah, we moved there when I was in sixth grade, and I was just like happy to be in a with my family. Like I said, I don't know, like I was a kid involved in like music, and I was a total nerd in that sense. And it was a beautiful thing. The memories that I take from it are very beautiful. So.
I was going to say, why are you focusing on the positive? What was there a negative? I mean, I'm not such a fan of my childhood, so like it's okay.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, the town we grew up in was like very like it's a redneck, very conservative town, right? So like growing up, it was a lot of I had to deal with a lot of bullying for being color, for being gay. So that in that sense, it was hard. But like, in hindsight, like I think about it, and I have fond memories of it. Unfortunately, our town was burnt down by the California fires.
Oh wow!
It's been now 2 years, so we don't have that place anymore. Like the entire town is like gone. And so when I think about it, like that's all I think about is like those beautiful memories of being in the mountains with my family, and like we're all very, very close. We don't have that home anymore, or like all of the close friends that I had, we all kind of lived close together, and so now we're kind of like all dispersed across the country. Yeah, so that's as a young gay kids and young gay kids of color, like there's always some bad shit, but like it was a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Yeah, I get it. Like I was bullied in high school too, and I'm like, really, everyone, I'm fine, thanks. But I wish I could sit here and tell you it's also. I mean, I wasn't thrilled at the time, but like in a way, I think it actually helped. If that's a weird way of saying it,
absolutely.
Like it's made me into like the person I am, and just kind of like I don't know.
Absolutely.
So, right?
We're resilient.
Yeah.
Resilient people,
so you were always, because you went to college for music, so you were always, was it always like that? Was that always your path? Were you always like into music when you were young? Did you have a million things you wanted to do with your life?
Yeah, it was always music. It was always music. That was my escape. Singing in my room at the top of my lungs, so like Mariah Carey and Janet Jackson and Paula Abdul, girl, I'm dating myself. But like music was always it. I was in choir, I was in band. And so when I first went to college, though, I went to college for computer science. So like I was a computer scientist for like 2.5 years. And I was like one of the top 2 kids in the program. I had this scholarship. Wow. Like it was crazy. Like I did well, but like at the end of the day, like it was the arts that really called to me. So, I dropped out of school and went and lived my life in Santa Cruz and became a part of this beautiful artistic community, and then decided to go to school for it.
Were those like your divas growing up? Was it like Mariah, Paula, and I think you said Janet?
Miss Janet, yes, absolutely. Those women were it. Like when I was growing up, yeah. And then it was like then J-Lo, because J-Lo used to dance for them, and then she started coming up, and so it was just but those were the hardcore 3.
Paula is, I mean, listen, Paula, there's nothing wrong with Paula. I love me some Paula. Mine were like Madonna. See, I'm dating myself now too. Mine were like Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, and maybe like Boy George. We can call him a diva.
Oh yes, absolutely, Boy George. He's amazing. My dad tells me this story because I was a young baby when Boy George came out. He said whenever Boy George came to the TV, I would run to the TV and kiss the TV. I would just kiss him on the television. Like I was so excited to see Boy George. But I mean, like he was incredible. He was like our representation of the time,
See, it was like foreshadowing. Like you knew even maybe then. through Boy George.
Absolutely.
So, right. So you went to school for computer science, and then you went to pursue your passion. So like when did you first do drag? Like when did that start? It was later in your
It was hella late. I did drag once when I was 18, but like that wasn't like, but when I did drag, like I was already like 39, 38, something like that. 30, so in my late 30s. So I was a full-fledged adult. Like I had already gone to school, done all my thing. I was working in corporate, and it was just something that like was fun. I was like, I don't know. I was like, I can do. I'm gonna try this, and like I did it for Pride, and I remember being super nervous because I didn't know how like my friends were gonna take it. But I remember like researching everything for days. My drag mother is YouTube.
Really? So you just literally, because I always ask like drag queen, like, I mean, I wouldn't know, like you just figured out how to do your makeup and everything.
Yeah, I mean, well, when I was going through school, like I was a makeup artist for a Chanel and Lancome, and so like I
That's
knew how to do in theater. You know how to do makeup in theater, and so but no, like I started to YouTube. It was amazing. YouTube's amazing. You can learn anything on YouTube, and like I mean, I was Googling the house down.
and you just one pride said, I'm gonna try it and let's see how
Yeah.
this goes.
Yeah, I did it with our running group. We march in the parade here, or the march here in New York City, and I marched with them in drag, and it was like so fun. And then they had they had like we do like a talent show, and I was like, oh, I'll do the talent show as Sugar Cane, and I got two of my running friends. One of them was a dancer, one was not, and we just kind of made some dumb thing. I sang live, the crowd went crazy, and I was like, oh, this is actually really fun. And so I started to dabble. My first performance in New York City was Sweetie holds this competition, or used to hold this competition, and I competed with Jiggly, Caliente, and Brita Filter.
Oh, wow.
The three of us competed in this little. I mean, it was for the tourist girl. Like it was all tourists and like our friends, and but it was so fun.
And then, like, did you win the competition? Did you keep doing competitions? Did you do well? Like, something must have told you to keep going.
Yeah, I won the competition, and like Britta at the time was hosting this local drag competition. She's like, "You should come and do my competition." And I was like, "Sure, like why not?" Like so, I did a competition. That's when I met Jan Sport. Like her and I were like coming up at the same time. She was in the competition, new as well, and so like we did a competition. I didn't win, but I made it to like the finals. And it was through that like some of the queens in New York City were like, oh, I saw you in this thing. Do you want to come do a guest spot at my show? And so then I started like guesting at shows. And then that just kind of, I started doing a bunch of stuff, and it just kind of snowballed. I started guesting, then I started hosting. And then I competed in Look Queen, which is the big competition here that Bob started, and I won that. And then after that, then I just, I had my own show, and girl, then Drag Race happened.
How'd you come up with the name Sugar Cane? I mean, the thing is, after years of fine print contracts and getting ripped off by big wireless providers, if there's one thing I've learned, there's always a catch. So when I first heard that Mint Mobile offers premium wireless services starting at just $15 a month, I thought, okay, what's the catch? But after speaking with them and using their service, it all made sense to me. There isn't one. Mint Mobile is the first company to sell wireless services online only. It's a brilliant idea. I don't know why no one has thought of this before. So by cutting out retail brick and mortar stores, there's no crazy overhead costs that they have to pay that get passed down to you. They're able to save all of that. And the only thing that they pass down to you is great savings. That's right. The plans start at just $15 a month. I'm using it. It's great. And of course, it comes with unlimited talk and text, high-speed data delivered on the nation's largest 5G network. And don't freak out yet. You can use your own phone with any Mint Mobile plan, and you keep your same phone number. So for everyone looking to get in touch with me, I have the same phone number since switching to Mint Mobile. And if you're not 100% satisfied, they have a 7-day money-back guarantee. This has changed my life. It starts at $15 a month. So to get your new wireless plan for just $15 a month and get the plan shipped to your door for free. Go to mintmobile.com/velvetrope. That's mintmobile.com/velvetrope. And you will cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/velvetrope. If you want to stop paying exorbitant amount and only want to pay $15 a month, mintmobile.com/velvetrope. That's it. $15 a month.
Sugarcane. That was just kind of like, I call it like an aha moment. I love to bake. I've always loved to bake as a kid. So I love cakes and candies and sugar. I'm obsessed with The Color Purple. I used to watch it a lot when I was a young thing. And I love Suge Avery. She was a singer, you know, and I kind of like vibed with her. So Suge kind of came from that. And then at the time growing up, I had this VHS of Wigstock. Lady Bunny's Wigstock. My VHS was like, I had the lines going down. I watched it so much. But Candace Cain, I love her. She is a huge inspiration to me. And like just one day, all those things came together and Sugar Cane was born.
Did you have any other backup names? Or it was just...
No, I mean, that was like literally the only one. Well, how do I say this? I've always liked the name Veronica. I probably would have been a Veronica something. I remember like that was like my thing growing up when I was a young kid, being a queen. I call myself Veronica, but we'll say Veronica.
That's a good one. I mean, that would be, did you have, so like those were your inspirations, like kind of like Lady Bunny, Candace Cain. I mean, those are good ones.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I grew up in this like very conservative town, mountain town, and so there was like very few things that I had, right? So like I found this. I don't know how I discovered Wigstock, but I discovered Wigstock, and I literally just would watch it all the time. I had, and that's where I learned about Lady Bunny, Misunderstood. I mean, Joey Arias. I mean, I can go on like all of the queens in New York City. And I just would watch that and just
those are good ones.
Revel in their beauty and their artistry and just, you know, so I mean, I would say Sugar Cane was born back then, like in my little room, watching those girls.
It was like your destiny.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And you were working like a real, quote unquote, real corporate job. Like you had a real day job and a pretty good one, right?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I did. I did media production. I did it for education. I was like a director, and I just produced videos for kids to help them, you know, learn math and science and stuff. And like, it was a legit job. Like, I came to New York City through Scholastic. They kind of brought me out here, and I started getting poached by different companies because I was doing really well, and it was a great career. But at the end of the day, like I've always wanted to come to New York. I was an artist, I have a master's degree in opera, and I'm in the city in the entire world where you can actually do something with art, and I wasn't doing it. So, you know, it was just inevitable that corporate world was going to fall to the side, and I was gonna.
Were you nervous? Like, I'm quitting my job? Where you're like, I don't know if he was your fiance at the time, but was he and like your family like, girl, are you crazy? Like, this is New York.
I was absolutely nervous, you know, because I think I'm a grown ass adult. I got grown ass bills. I've gone to school. Like I have like, you know, and to quit everything and just be like, I'm gonna see if this shit works out at such late age. I was very, very scared, but like, my family's super supportive. My fiance is super supportive. You know, I think, and then always in the back of my mind, like, I know that I always knew that I had the talent and had what it took to succeed in whatever artistry path that I chose. So I always had that to hold on to. So yes, it was scary, but the support from my family and friends was incredible. And, you know.
It's like you bet on yourself. So there's nothing wrong with that.
You have to, because no one's going to. Like at the end of the day, no one's going to, and you're the only one who can make the change for yourself. So,
and it's like a short life, and especially like if COVID, I think, has taught us anything. If you're not doing listen, this is I think why there's a lot of like marriage proposals and divorces, and people are changing careers. Like I don't know. If you're not having a coming to Jesus moment with yourself in COVID, I don't know what you're waiting for.
Yeah, you're not paying attention. I mean, this is really, there's a huge shift happening, right? And like it took all of this to happen. And like I'm a very spiritual, very I'm like a total empath. So like I've been going through it this entire time. But like, the only way to the other side is through, right? So you just have to pay attention. And it's crazy. I mean, it's a beautiful thing. But it's a very difficult thing.
Yeah. So like as an empath, that this is, affecting you immensely, right? I would imagine.
Absolutely. It's been very interesting because like I'm also a very introverted person. And so like I like to be at home, right? And so, but like this is like a whole nother level. I've been affected in such a huge way that has been so eye-opening. I kind of, if you look at my social media and you kind of like, if you followed me before and like you see me now, like you're noticing like, where is she? Like, what's she doing? Like, I haven't seen her for a minute. Kids, I am locked up in my house. I am like just trying to get through this shit. Like, and part of that is just kind of like being alone and focusing on my family and myself and like really what it is that I want to come out of this. So I haven't been online as much. I haven't done as many shows. I really have kind of taken this time to kind of step back. And it's been really weird.
Was that like a conscious decision of like, I don't want to go on Instagram every 5 seconds?
Absolutely. It totally is, right? So like, obviously like I'm not working as much, right? So that is, I mean, I would love to be working, but we're just not. But like it was a definite conscious decision not to be on Instagram. I was very resistant in the beginning, but I still kind of did it. And I was just still doing YouTube stuff, but I still do projects and I have a Patreon and I do that. And I do other things, but like, yeah, I was, as we've gotten more into the pandemic, I'm literally like, I can't. Like I'll pop on and like do stuff for the kids because I love them and I appreciate them and I miss them. But like, there comes a point where you really have to kind of listen to your body and your mind and your soul and do what that needs, right?
Totally. And like if people are meant to be there online when this is all over, they will be.
Yeah. I mean, like everything's gonna happen, right? And then we're gonna get through it and then we'll all be back. So I just have to but we're in this now, so you have to do what you need for yourself. So
yeah, I think so. I think it's either that or like people have done the opposite. Like I kind of have done the opposite where I've like tripled down on social media and this podcast and I'm just like, but
that's amazing. That's what I love about this, because you do see the people who really have kind of come out and supported everyone else. Like you doing all these things, and the podcast is so amazingly incredible and beautiful. And like, it's what we need, right? And I've seen some of my friends who literally have just like blossomed into these beautiful performers and have done so much, and they're literally like grinding every single day. And I love it and I support it and I'm like all for it. It's so great to see.
That's me. I'm just like, I don't know what I would be doing if I didn't have this job. Like I literally, I don't know. I would do something else, I'm sure, but I would be like, I don't know. It would be a mess. Let's just put it that way.
No, I know, because sometimes I just lay in my bed and eat crackers and like cry, bitch.
And I have like a day like that and I'm like, this is amazing. And then I'm like, okay, like get your ass out of bed, David.
I will say this, I have been like seriously remodeling my entire apartment. So like my creative energies are there. Like I have like painted and hand painted like my entire kitchen. Like I remodeled all this shit. So like, we're still doing creative stuff.
Do you live in your apartment alone or you live with your fiance?
I live with my fiance. Yeah. So he's amazing. He works from home. Like, but he's just always like, what is happening? Like the house is changing. Like there's always like new stuff somewhere.
What are you in your closet now? I mean, I assume you are, but maybe I'm making that up.
Yeah, I'm in my drag room. This is pretty much
I like
where
it.
I spent actually a lot of my time. Yeah, she's kind of a mess right now. But yeah, it's like where he has taken over like the dining room and the living room for his office. And so I just come in here and I work on my projects or do the things that I need to do in here. And it's fun.
I love it. So after you quit your job, then you full-time were drag, you were like out working in the New York drag scene every night?
Yeah, every night. It was crazy. It was so much fun. I loved it. I loved it and I miss it so much. The queens were amazing. The girls that I worked with are just like so fun. And New York City is just, the nightlife here is amazing. You know, there's nothing like it. And there was always, we were always pushing ourselves, right? Like, and pushing each other to come up with new stuff and be like amazing artists. And like, it just was, it was incredible.
Do you think, I was going to ask, I didn't mean to cut you off. Do you think like New York girls have a leg up on Drag Race just because of the drag scene here, or like New York and LA maybe? I mean, like the drag scene here is no joke.
Yeah, I've always, absolutely. And I've always said that the girls who do get on, like, it's hard to make it in New York City. There are like a ton of amazing, incredible staple queens. I call them staple queens because they have all the shows everywhere. And to get in, like, these girls don't leave unless they get on the show and they bounce. And so like to come up and be a new queen, and there's so many new queens, but there are opportunities to perform every night here. And that's what makes a beautiful queen and makes a talented queen, right? Like you get a chance to practice your craft. You may be doing it for free, but you can perform somewhere every night of the week in New York City, and people can see you and follow your journey and start to support you. And then, you know, you can gain a following through there. So it really is, I guess I don't know LA, you know what I mean? But like as a place to really hone in on your craft and really learn, this place is it. Like there's no other place like it.
Wait, I have another question. Is there something that interferes with your happiness or is preventing you from achieving your goals? For me, listen, I love being the host of the Behind the Velvet Rope podcast, but bringing you guys 5 shows a week, tracking down the top Bravo celebrities to bring you new creative content every day, that causes me stress. It causes me anxiety. I'm not even going to get into the lack of sleep or lack of a relationship. So I needed somewhere to turn. And for me, I turned to BetterHelp. I love BetterHelp because it's professional counseling right from the comfort of your own home. What they do is they match you with a licensed therapist who's a professional that fits your needs and the things that you want to talk about. So you may not have the same issues as I do. They also deal with LGBTQIA issues, anger, grief, trauma. If you are having relationship issues, if you're in a relationship, good for you. I'm not. They really deal with everything, and everything you share is confidential. So I cannot stress how much, because of this job that I love so much, it has caused me some issues, and BetterHelp really is a lifesaver. Right now, if you guys also want to start living a happier life, as a listener, you get 10% off your first month by visiting betterhelp.com/velvetrope. Join over 1 million people taking charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/velvetrope. BetterHelp, HELP.com/velvetrope. And as a listener, you guys get 10% off your first month. Try it. I promise you, you are going to feel so much better once you talk to one of their licensed professional counselors. And listen, so many people have been using BetterHelp. They're actually recruiting additional counselors in all 50 states. DM me. Let me know how it goes. This has been a lifesaver for me. I think so. And like you do see, like, you know, sometimes like the tables are skewed. Like when you look at each season, the contestants, like I'm sure they try to get it as diverse as possible, but sometimes you're like New York, yeah. LA, New York, not either of them. There's always a lot of New York girls on Drag Race.
But what I love now too, like, is with all of this, the Drag Race across like the world, we're starting to see like what drag is like in like Holland and like, you know what I mean, in the UK, and like,
right.
It is so incredible. Like these queens, I mean, talk about look queens and talent. Like, it is so beautiful that we get to see that and see how they do their drag. So that's kind of cool too.
Speaking of look queens, like how would you describe it? Like what are there? There's the look queens, the comedy queens, like what other, according to you, categories do we have?
They got the look queens, the comedy queens, you got them gorgeous queens, the pageant queens. I mean, what else? You have the busted queens.
Yes.
No, I live. But I mean, there's, there's all of these labels, right? We love to put somebody in a label. But what I love about drag is that um, you can come out, I can come out looking busted one time and then be super funny and then come out looking really beautiful, or like, you can do whatever you want. You can be a look queen, and like, that's what I love, a queen who is versatile in that sense, and that you never know what to expect from them. And
Yeah.
that's what's so great about drag.
When you were doing the New York nightlife scene, like you said, there's some queens that are just on the circuit regulars until they get on Drag Race. So like I imagine like Peppermint, Bob, those were two that you encountered, right?
Yeah,
Or
so
were
like
they already on the show and
they
done
were
by
already on the
then?
show. By the time I got on, no, by the time I was on, I mean, or by the time I started, I should say, yeah, they were already like gone. Who
Yeah.
was, when I was just starting, it was like Aquarius season. What is that?
Okay.
10, like 9 and 10,
Right.
like I was like 9 and 10ish. Uh so yeah, I mean, I remember when I first moved to New York, going to Hell's Kitchen to watch Drag Race, and Manila was hosting, and
Oh,
like
wow.
that was like one of the first times I was really like, oh, the queens are actually like here. Um, and so that was really cool to see, because I was a huge fan of hers. But yeah, a lot of those queens were already kind of gone,
Gone.
Yeah.
Right, because you were season 11. Like, and
Mhm.
you applied for Drag Race. That was your first time applying.
My second time,
The
I applied
second,
for 10. Yeah, I applied for 10. Girl. It's
you
so bad.
just really,
But you have to do it. Like, I always tell like girls who are interested, and if this is a career path that you want and you want to do the show, like, just audition, girl. Just do it. They'll see you. They'll see you busted, but they'll see the progression. You'll know what it's like. You just got to do it. You just got to do it. And
and you did it, especially now that I know you did season 10, like pretty shortly thereafter, you quit your job and went like, right? You didn't have like a
yeah,
several year, let me figure this out.
no, I remember I didn't have no kind of drag. I had like, I was like, I tried to film it in like 3 or 4 days. I submitted it at like 11:59 p.m. It was like so bad, and I watched it. When I watched it, I haven't seen it in a while, but when I went back to see it like the following year, I was like, oh, this is bad. Like, it was so terrible compared to my season 11 one, which was like, for me, it was like a night and day. So,
Do you
but
get like feedback, or it's just like you don't hear if you're not in? It's not like,
yeah, you don't hear nothing. You don't hear. You just all of a sudden one day you were like, oh, everyone's cast. You're like, oh, I guess
right.
it wasn't me.
Was it always Drag Race for you? Like when you quit your job and said, let me work at night, was it always like, give me a minute because this is the goal? Or,
Uh, I don't. Drag Race wasn't the goal at first, right? Like, I knew it. I knew that it was there. And I think, but like for me, it was. I think I was so starved for the artistry. I had just denied myself of everything that I've like of performing for so long, that I was like,
right.
I need to perform. And it was something that I loved, and I was singing. I used to sing when I first started, so I was singing all the time. And then it was when I started to do it, like, and I was like, oh, like, I'm getting really good feedback, and I was like, I can do that. Like, why can't I do this? Of course I can do this. Like, this is what I've trained my entire life for. Like, I've trained to be a performer. Like, and that's what the show is. It's a performance. So I was like, yes. And then when I started to think about it, I was like, I can do this. And I was like, oh, this is like the epitome of like, this is, the goal, really. Like, it's the highest, well, one of the
Right.
highest things that, you know what I mean? To really get yourself out there as a drag queen, like, it's, it's the golden ticket. So why wouldn't I want to do it?
Do you think like everybody now wants to do it? Like, do you think there's like a misperception that like you have to be on Drag Race to make it, so to speak? Or do
I
you
think,
have to be on Drag Race to make it
you know,
nowadays?
that's an interesting question, right? Like, because I think if you would have asked me that like 4 years ago, or maybe like a couple years ago, I'd been like, absolutely, this is the only way. Um, but like, I think now, because of Drag Race, like, we are just so at the forefront, right? You see drag queens everywhere, like, and so there are different avenues and there are different ways to do it. It is the main path to do it, right? But like, it's not the only path, I don't think. So, and that's because of Drag Race and all the amazing things that they've done. And so I'd be interested to see, we have Dragula. That's another avenue. But like I've seen queens, get cast in like Netflix shows and things like that. And so like there are different ways to do this. So
yeah, that's true. What about when you got there? What is the, I guess, best or easiest? I don't know if that's even the same question, like the worst / hardest part of Drag Race.
Oh, the worst part of it. Oh God, all of it.
It's hard.
It really is terrible. It's so hard. It's never what you think it's gonna be. Like it's not, to anyone that's gonna go on it or has been on it, like it's not what you thought it was gonna be. It is hard. They grind you so hard. Like being from New York, it's amazing because like I didn't feel like it affected me as much as the girls who hadn't grind in New York. Like, because we grind in New York and but Drag Race is a whole weird, it's weird. You don't sleep, you barely eat, like you're doing all this shit. And then I rolled in there like, I was like, I'm talented, I know what I'm doing. And like, I was carrying that for a while, but then they break you down and that was starting to break down in me. And so then like those voices that are always there just start to really just like, are just screaming in your face. And you're just like, but I am talented, I can do this.
Were you shocked, like when you got your first like negative feedback or like whatever, like this is horrible, improve it, or just whatever, even if it was helpful criticism? Were you just like, what? Like I thought I did great at this point.
Yeah, it was weird because like when I was there, I was aiming to please, right? So like, oh, if they didn't like something, like I was like, oh, I thought I did well. I was like, okay, so maybe I really didn't do well. So like I was listening and really trying to fix, right? And so like I was always trying to please them and paying attention. And then when I came back and watching things, I was like, wait, bitch, I actually did really do well. Like, what the fuck? Like, and so like, it was kind of, once I kind of got away from it and out of it, I started to notice, I'm like, oh, like, yes, I did bad. I know I did bad on some parts, but there's other parts where I was like, I actually did do well. And it just wasn't what they wanted. So, but like, I really kind of, while I was there, I really kind of beat myself down on, oh, you know what I mean? On the fact that like, I didn't do as well, or I didn't fit into what they wanted or what they were looking for that particular challenge or whatever. So
right.
Yeah, it was weird.
And I mean, it seems hard. It doesn't seem easy.
It's so hard.
I mean, just in talking to other queens that have been on, many of them, no one has ever said anything less than it's really hard. I'm waiting for someone to tell me, yeah, it was hard, but not as bad as everyone says. No one has said that yet. So
have you talked to Bianca? I think Bianca Del Rio is probably the only queen who was like, this shit was easy.
Like, of course Bianca says that. Like,
and like, cause yeah, I feel like she's probably the only one out of the entire,
she's like,
cast.
I got
like,
this.
Nah, it was a piece of cake. Absolutely. But her and Bob, I'll give you that.
Bob, I spoke to, and Bob was like, yeah, it was hard, but yeah. How about RuPaul? Like, were you, I mean, like, I know you don't interact much with RuPaul. Like, were you shocked at that? Or like, did you know what to expect? Like, this is a TV show. Like, we're not going to be hanging out with RuPaul 24/7. Some people, I think, are shocked when they get there that like, you just don't hang out and have direct access to RuPaul 24/7.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised, right? Because like, I mean, I've worked in media, so like I know how things are filmed, right? And so like I knew that like she's gonna come in and do her bit and then bounce, like,
right.
She's gonna be hanging around all day. But like, so I wasn't surprised, but she was wonderful and like super, super nice. And like when she was there with us, like she was joking around, she was chatting with us, and like, I mean, she was doing her work, but like it wasn't like she was, inaccessible or not, not aware or caring of the fact that we were there. Like, it was fun. It was fun. Like when we had those moments with her, I remember it just being a lot of fun, and it was great to see her, and she was great with us.
What about, did you feel each week that people were eliminated? Or I don't know if you watched, did you watch after you were gone?
Well, there was only one episode after I was gone.
Right.
So I did watch it.
You watched?
I did.
Did you, okay, so let me ask you then, like, did you feel each week when people were eliminated, I asked this not just for Drag Race, it's every reality show. Like, people were eliminated truly based on merit, or was there any part of you where like, well, that person probably makes better TV, so that's maybe why they're being kept?
I mean, look, it's a TV show, right? So like, I think it's it's hard to say like what it is that they want, right? Like, it is a TV show and they want big personalities. And if you're not giving them a big personality, you could be like super talented, but like, I mean, if you're not saying anything, then like, what are you doing there, right? So
Right.
I think me as a producer, I'd be like, well, you're not really giving us what we want, so you should probably go. Like, you know, because you want to be entertained. So I mean, watching it and saying like, I definitely feel like some girls should have stayed and some girls should have gone. And so I definitely feel that, right? Like, we have our favorites and we see what we want. And so I agree with that. Like, I definitely feel that, you know, some girls should have stayed and some girls should have gone at different points of the show. So.
And there is that element of like, well, we're also making a TV show, people.
Yeah. I mean, it's reality, girl. Like, I went in thinking it was a competition, like, and then I think as I left, I was like, oh, girl, this was like, okay, no, I get it now. Like, but it took me to go through it and like to leave to get like what the gig was, right? I don't know.
Right, that makes sense. What about like, was there chatter? Like, could you guys tell that Evie was good? Like, could you tell who was going to win? Like, was there chatter like, she's going to go far? Like, were you guys all, and were you right? You know what I mean? Were you like, those two are the biggest competition, I'm the biggest? Like, were people aware of where they were in the process, or every week you were like, wow, I thought that person sucked and they just got great criticism and here they are and they're in the finals and they're going to win?
Yeah, no, I as we're going, I mean, yes. I mean, if you're breathing, you can see like who's gonna go far, like who's going to, like, right, like as we're doing it. I think for me, the elimination that really kind of shook the whole game up and really kind of scared me was when they sent Plastique home. Like, because we're there, we see everything. So like, but when they sent Plastique home, we were literally like, oh wait, bitch, I thought for sure she was gonna be like the last women standing. And so that was like, oh, this shit is like real. And then it was after that I was like, you didn't know what was gonna happen. Like, you just didn't know. But I think up until then, like I felt like I was like, okay, this makes sense. Like, I'm seeing this, like I'm seeing what's happening, and this makes sense. But like when that happened, I was like, oh, now they're really going in on us. Like, no one's safe. Like, this is a real thing now. Like, they're sending people home. So yeah,
that makes sense. What about like, were you happy with how it all worked out? Were you like at some point where you're like, no, I came to like learn and maybe win, but now I've crossed that threshold and like I better win, you know what I mean? Like, or were you just like, I learned a lot about drag and maybe changed, you know, like honing my own skills and things went well? Or were you just like, bitch, I wanted to win this? And
bitch, I wanted to win that shit. Like, I wanted to win that shit. Like, I was really happy with, obviously, like, there were some fucked up looks that I had.
Right.
But like, I felt like I had a really strong package. I thought it was really creative. And I thought I was funny and I worked really hard. Right. And so, I was mad. I was mad as hell. I was mad as hell when they sent me home.
Right.
And so it was just, yeah, no, I was just pissed. Like,
no, I just didn't know, because like some people, you know, some people.
I really wanted to win it. Yeah, I mean, from New York City, and like I said, sorry, I was getting a little distracted, and then, I had really, I really wanted to win. Like, I've been working, like I may have just started drag like a year, you know, a year and a half before, but like I'd been performing for over 20 years, and so like I thought I was like an amazing performer, and so like, you know, and I think, you know, a lot of us from New York feel that, but like, yeah, no, I was definitely upset.
Did you feel just because like you weren't, you know, Aquaria, you weren't 18, like was that ever a factor, or no? Like, you know, you different paths in life, or were you just like, I'm not 18 and like there's more writing on this for me?
No, I definitely didn't feel the comparison, right? Like, I didn't feel like, oh, I'm not 18 and gorgeous and like that, because that's not me. Like, that's not my drag.
I didn't say you weren't gorgeous. You said
no.
that.
Well, I definitely feel like I'm going. No,
I'm going to get accused of age shaming, you know, like I'm just saying, like, no, like, you know, I've reinvented myself many times.
Yeah.
I'm no like spring chicken over here. Not that 40 something is old, but I'm just
No,
saying, like, you know, like I didn't know if that was part of it.
no, you know, it wasn't part of it. I felt like, um, what do I want to say? Like, I definitely wasn't comparing, right? And like, I just, what do I want to say here? I thought lost track of my thought.
Like, as far as like, you know, did you put more pressure on yourself, I guess,
Oh,
because
absolutely. Yeah, for me, there was. Thank you for that. I just kind of lost what I was saying.
like,
Yes, I did put a lot of pressure on myself. Why? Because like I'm like 40 some years. I was 40 years old at the time. I had like um let go of all security. I had quit all my job. I was like now doing this. Like uh, the girls who are younger have more time to switch it up and switch it out, right? Like I don't. I mean, I still do. Like, you know, I definitely do have time and you can switch
yeah.
it out. But like, I was definitely putting a lot more pressure on myself to go far and to win. And so I think that was probably to my detriment, right?
What about the judges? Who was your favorite? Who was your least favorite?
Um, you know, I love them all. So I love Ross. I love him. He's like the sweetest, cutest thing, and just so fun. And I just loved his energy. Michelle, I liked her sometimes and not other times.
Michelle's
um,
tough.
but she is, and I was just like, bitch, I cannot win with her. And so she was really tough. It wasn't until we did What You Packin' that I really understood Michelle. That one-on-one time, sitting and chatting with her, I had this connection with her that was just, I love her. I absolutely adore her. I finally got Michelle when I got to sit down with her and spend that time with her. And so I have mad respect for her and I absolutely adore her. Of the guest judges, my favorite, Gina Rodriguez, The House Down, was like that. She was beautiful and amazing and really kind of like went to bat for me, and I will forever always love her for that. So
And like I've met her before. I mean, at least my experiences is like insane, like beyond nice. Like if there's 40 fans waiting, she'll literally stop and talk to every person. Like
she's
insane.
she's incredible, and for the Latino community, I mean, like with what she's accomplished and what she does and how she conducts herself in her business and the representation that she gives us is like so incredible. So that on top of her being nice, like she is forever my favorite.
Did you watch Jane the Virgin when it was on?
Yes, of course we did. I love it.
It was
She's
amazing. It was
Yeah.
an amazing TV show. It was like everything about it. I couldn't get enough.
She is great. She produced this cute show called what's it called? Like The Next President or The Next Girl President or something president on Disney. It's literally made for 13-year-olds, but like I watched it and love it. And she was the executive producer on there, and it's about her becoming the president. The Diary of the Future President is what it's called.
Oh, wow.
And it literally is. It's about her being a president, the first Latina president of the United States, and like, but it goes back to her being a kid. She's amazing. I mean, y'all need to do, but watch it. It's cute.
And anyone who hasn't seen the entire Jane the Virgin series,
Yeah.
if you're home and you want something to do, that
so
would be
good.
something good. What about like other guest judges? What about like our friend Candy Burris from The Real Housewives of Atlanta?
Oh yes, I mean it was so great to see her because I'd watched her on. I mean we're just like gagged at like for us. I mean you know I don't run into famous people. We don't. I mean as New Yorker we don't see them. But to see someone on TV that I like, I love seeing her. It was so amazing to see her. Like seeing Miley Cyrus was like wild and crazy. I'm trying to think of who else was on our. I mean we had so many amazing.
How was Miley?
She was incredible. I've become such a huge fan of hers. She's so like she's just in tune with like life and like what's happening and what's going on. The words that she spoke to us, the words of encouragement that she gave us, really like touched my soul. Like it was there was something really beautiful about her energy, and like I am a forever fan. And now she's just like doing this amazing like all this like 80s rocker shit, and I'm just like, you are like in the groove of your destiny, and it is amazing.
The new album is great.
God, it's incredible.
I mean, Billy Idol, like, come on now. Like, what about Adam Rippon?
Oh, he was adorable. Him and Travis, thank you. Him and Travis were my favorites. They were so cute. That was actually my favorite challenge and episode. It was a gymnastics challenge. They was just fun. Travis is like the sweetest, like most patient choreographer. And like they were just living for everything we were doing. Huge fan.
Are you so like when we had, for instance, Trinity the Tuck on this lovely show, she talked about Meghan Trainor stole her sandwich. True story. Google it. Right. See, like you're laughing. And I'm like, how is this a story? But it was, and it is, and it became this thing. And Trinity was like, not having it with Meghan Trainor. Anything like funny happen backstage with any of these people? Or like, was anyone like, did anyone come with like, or was there anyone not nice? Like anyone, I mean, that's some other things I've heard about, not any of these people in particular, but I've heard some stories of who wasn't.
No,
nice.
Everyone was really amazing. Everyone was like super, super nice. I mean, nothing really crazy that happened, right? Like I don't really, Travis Wall coined this phrase. I love that journey for you. I love that journey. So we were saying that a lot. We thought that was cute. What was really, really funny was Joel McHale, because they showed him like screaming. He was literally, he could have been like at a sports event, like a football. He was screaming his full head off. And I remember being backstage, rocking the runway, just in tears. We were laughing. Michelle was so pissed at him. I swear, like, and you can see it when they filmed it, like and what they aired, like you could tell like she was ready to rip his throat out. But I remember that episode just being really fun. His energy was like, really just shifted the entire, crew and cast. Like it was really, really fun. Like that was really cool.
Michelle was mad, what? Because he was like on the phone.
Not having it. No, because he was. Anytime anyone did anything, he was like, "Yeah, whoa!" like screaming, and he was right next to her, so he was basically screaming in her ear, and so she would like give him a look and tell him to like basically like, "I'm gonna kill you if you don't shut up," and like he was just getting louder and louder. And we were all just laughing. It was really cute. It's really
always the straight boy, right? That gets all like, you're like, sweetie, calm down.
He was amazing. I love it.
What about, because, you know, like, listen, a lot of people love Drag Race and a lot of people love the girls on it and just drag queens in general. Like, are you the type to get starstruck? Like, have you ever had someone come up to you and you're like, what? You know who I am? You know, not that you're not wonderful and fabulous, but I would imagine if like a Miley Cyrus in just the real world came up to you, you'd be like, how do you watch Drag Race? Who would expect that? Anything like that ever happen?
Like fans?
Where like,
or
yeah.
Like
or like a celebrity where you're just like, oh, wow, I never would have thought this person would watch Drag Race or something like that.
I'm trying to think. You know, I haven't really hobnobbed too much.
Because people love Drag Race.
There is, I'm blanking on her name, and I watch Grace and Frankie. I'm obsessed with Grace and Frankie.
It's the best show. Also,
it is literally the best show. I've seen it like a million
maybe
times.
like June Diane Raphael.
Is that her name? She's the bitch daughter.
Okay, yeah. You know who you're thinking of? You are thinking of Erin Foster, I think. There's two daughters. I think you're thinking of Erin Foster, one of David Foster's daughters.
Yeah, the one who is the CEO of the company.
That's Erin Foster, yeah.
Okay, yeah. I'm sorry, I forget her name.
No, I mean, I get it.
She was really good friends with one of my friends, and we were at a wedding. And they're like best friends. It was my friend that's getting married, and I was there hosting the thing, and she just happened to be there, and I literally was like ready to scream. But I was like, it's a wedding, I can't really like talk to her and like whatever. But my friend who was getting married was like, had got wind that I was a huge fan. She was like, oh, let me just introduce you to each other. And so she did. I'm like trying to calm down. I'm like, hi. I was like, you know, I didn't want to come and bother you. I was like, just because I'm a huge fan, blah, blah, blah. And I was just didn't want to interrupt dinner. And she was like, she goes, I know. She goes, I was feeling the same way. She goes, I want to come talk to you, but I didn't want to come say hi to you. And so like, that was a cute little like bonding moment. Cause I was like, I didn't think that she watched Drag Race. Like, and so she knew who I was, and that was really sweet.
Grace and Frankie is an amazing show.
Yeah. absolutely incredible. I've seen it literally like 10, 12 times. I put it on repeat.
I think there's one more season left. I'm pretty sure they have one
I,
coming.
I'm sad to hear that there's only one. There needs to be like 5 more. I mean,
Jane Fonda is, I mean, Lily Top, but the Jane Fonda is just
they're
unbelievable.
their
Crazy.
chemistry is incredible. Like it's such a rarity to see like two amazing friends like get to play together on screen and just have a good time.
And
And
it's such a just,
yeah.
I love it. What about when you, because you were on Watch What Happens Live?
Mm-hmm.
Do you watch, I mean, what do you watch? Like, do you watch TV? I mean, not everyone does. Like, do you watch reality TV? You don't have
So
to. Lots
I
of people
don't watch
don't.
the reality TV that I watch is like The Voice. I love The Voice. I watch America's Got Talent. I know. I just started
No, those
watching
are,
The Masked Singer, and I'm obsessed.
that's a
Um,
good one.
it's so fun. So like I watch that reality TV.
Those are good.
I watch the stuff that I watch on TV. Like I watch The Crown. I watch Grace and Frankie, like my favorite. I watch like Ozarks.
That's
like a lot of
good.
Netflix shows. So those are the kinds of things that I watch.
You like the reality TV competitions.
I do. I really, really do. They get me every time. I cry at every single one. Like the story producers are amazing. I was like, they know exactly how to make me cry. I'm like, I
The
live for it.
Voice is still really good. It's like fun. It's fun.
It's wonderful to see. And The Masked Singer is great because I love seeing, like, trying to figure out who it is, but like being blown away by someone who you didn't think could sing, who can actually sing and really turn out something beautiful. It's fun.
And I'm never like, sometimes I get it right, but like Jenny McCarthy, I don't know how she does it. Like she's always like, she's like, that's so and so. And once she says it, you're like, oh my God, that is exactly who that is. You're like, it's crazy.
She's amazing. It's crazy how they can follow the clues. I don't know. I can't. Like I'm watching this stuff and I was like, I that doesn't work in my brain.
Like someone told me like right away the first week, they're like, oh, Taylor Dane is the popcorn. And I'm like, how do you, they're like, she's 100% the pop. And then like, as the weeks went on, you're like, okay, well, everyone's saying it now. So I believe it. But how did you say this after like 3 minutes of her singing? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah. I like to think that I have a really good ear for voices. I can tell. And so, but it's hard. Like, I didn't know it was her,
It's hard.
Yeah.
How did Drag Race change you at all, like as a person, or no? Am I being too deep here today? And if it did, how did it change you as a person?
You're definitely not too deep. I think with this whole shit that's going on, I'm feeling my deepness. It definitely has changed, right? It definitely has changed. To go from like no one knowing who you are to all of a sudden like being thrown out into like this fandom and this the limelight or whatever, it definitely changes you. I think for me, what has been hard is going from being there to now not doing anything and not seeing anyone. Right. So I feel like that has been a very difficult thing to handle. Like I love the limelight. I love being able to perform, and I love meeting the kids and being able to be, share that kind of that energy exchange. And like with everything now, like we're not doing it. So it really is just kind of like, when are we going to be able to perform again? When are we going to do that? That has kind of thrown a huge wrench in like what this is. So like now I feel like for me, it's definitely like at a crossroads of like, what is this career going to be? Like, how am I going to do it now? Because I also have to like survive, right? Like, and so it's definitely changed Drag Race, because like it's weird because like my goals in my life are always bigger and better, and just like I'm always trying to do more, and I always strive to be a better performer, a better something.
Right.
I have goals that I want to achieve. So for me, there's no stepping back, right? Like, is it a real step back? I see it as a stepping back, you know what I mean? So like, it's kind of like, what I've done is like, I'm now focusing on like, what specifically do I want to do now? Like how, like where do I want this to take me? And so Drag Race has changed because I can't just like be like, oh, I'm just gonna like now stay in New York and just, I don't know.
Get on a plane and go.
Yeah, it's weird. It's a weird thing. So I don't know if I answered your question, but like it's like
No,
you
you
know,
did.
yeah, like it just changed the whole ball game, right? Like you either keep running with it or you don't do it anymore.
Did it
And
open like
so
a million doors and like you were getting booked and you were around the world? And I imagine that's what happens after Drag
yeah,
Race.
absolutely, it was a beautiful, like it was amazing. I got to travel to so many places and oh my God, like visit so many amazing cities and like perform at these different things. I mean, like I opened for Iggy Azalea in San Francisco. I was like, what the fuck is this? Like weird stuff like that. I got to like I Charo is a great friend of mine now. Like, you know, every
Charo,
time when
like
I'm,
Charo
yeah,
Charo.
like Charo. Like every
Wow.
time I'm in LA, I go to her house and we hang out. And so it's like it really has opened these amazing doors. And so like, and it's like once you get a taste of that, like who doesn't want to keep doing that, right? And having those opportunities. And so it's definitely pushing me to work harder in certain areas. And but I
Like,
think right.
well,
Go
no, I
ahead.
was going to say, like, to your point, like, what does someone do now? Like, that was my, what do you do? Or does anyone do now? Like,
And
if you're,
that's it, right? Like, and that's it. Like, so I've been trying to like be really kind to my body, my spirit, and my soul. Like, I can't. The world is shifting, it's changing. All of these things are happening. It's affecting us at like a cellular level. Like, there's no escaping what is happening, and so your body is going to react to it, right? Like my body just is like very receptive to all of it. So like there's days where I can't do anything. Like I just need to like get through the day and breathe. But then there's days where like, you know, you have to focus and focus on what it is that you want to do. And so like I have my hands in a lot of different pots. Like I'm always like, I cast the net out and see what's going to hit. And then based off of that, then I start to like kind of hone in and focus. And like right now I'm like honing in and focusing on like what I want to do next, because like things are changing. And so like, but like the bills ain't, right? Like I still got to pay like my student loans and my mortgage or like my rent and stuff. So it's weird.
well, yeah, it is weird.
Um,
I mean, did you think like the whole online performance thing is going to really, I mean, I think we're here for a while, right? I mean, that's what I think, at least in terms of live performances, even if the world
yeah.
opens.
Yeah, no, we are. So I think like, yes, so there are those are options. Right. So I don't know. For me, it doesn't work, right? So I've done it, and like I've seen some things, I've seen some theater, and like it works for some things, but not for others. So for me, I'm focusing on what I want my career to do. Like I want to do more film and television. I want to do more music. So focusing on writing some music, focusing on writing what I want to see in media and TV and film. So working on projects like those. And then, you know.
Well, your music, Sweet Love, you have that wonderful song.
Yeah, thank you. It's
Do
fun.
you,
It's great.
do you love the music part of your career? Like, is that just something you would, like, you love doing the music?
Absolutely. I went to school for opera, so like that is like a huge part of who I am. And it took me a while to release the single. And I'm glad that I did. And now like I've been trying to like figure out how to bring music back. 'Cause when I first started, like I sang all the time, and then I stopped, and then I just was lip syncing like everyone else. And so, you know, bringing back opera and bringing back live singing, that's a focus that I've been working on and wanting to bring back. So like I'm excited for that. So yeah, music will always be a
A
part of it,
part of
right?
it. And you also read cards. Does that tie into you being an empath?
Yes, absolutely. I do read cards. Yeah, it does. I've always been like a weird spiritual kid, and like kind of been sensitive to all these things. So, and I love that. That's like super, super fun. It actually started out being something that was like supposed to be super silly and like dumb. And I wasn't really gonna read the cards for the kids because I was like, no one really wants their cards read. Like, but everyone that was sending me things when I started the YouTube thing, everything was like really heartfelt. The questions were real. Kids really wanted to know, like, you know, does this person like me? What is my career going to be like? Am I on the right path? And so like, once I started to see that, like, I was like, oh, I have to do right by these kids and actually give them like full on readings. And I still do them. I do them privately. Kids order them online. I'm actually gonna, after this, have to do a bunch of them today. And like, it's just fun. I love it. I was featured in a global like magazine for tarot readers, and like it's called the Cartographer magazine for the month of December. So that was kind of nice. So like that aspect of my drag has now like a different kind of reach globally into a community that probably isn't familiar with Drag Race. So that's kind of special. Yeah.
And I think now too, with like the world, what it is, I don't know, who doesn't want a reading?
Yeah.
I would take a reading every day if you want to give me a reading every day. I mean, that's like, I think we want some answers, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
No, I mean, I love having cards read. Like, who doesn't want that, right?
Yeah, it's amazing. I had forgotten that it was like a thing. I remember I was in, I remember like years ago, I was in the Stonewall here in New York City. And like, it was packed and crazy. And there was this queen and she was walking around and she was like beautiful and really striking and really tall. And there was something about her that was captivating. And like, I didn't know what she was doing. And then she came up to me and grabbed my hand and just started reading my palm in the middle of this bar. And I was like, what the hell is going on here? Like, read me out down. It was amazing. And then it wasn't until years later that I was like, oh my God, like, why am I not utilizing this thing? Like, it was so great. So whoever that queen is, I don't know who she is. Thank you so much for like kind of, you know, grabbing my hand during that time, because like it really, you know, now I'm reading tarot for these kids and it's amazing.
I love it. Is there any part of you that like, is Drag Race overall a great thing for the community? Or like, do you think there's any part that is not? Like, is there any negative effects of Drag Race? And I mean, are you shocked like how big Drag Race is and like, for lack of a better word, like mainstream?
Yeah, Drag Race is incredible. I mean, what it's doing for the community and what it's doing for our representation and just to get us out there and just kind of a part of just an everyday conversation, it is beautiful. I think it's incredible. Like, we're all over the world now, and that is amazing. We need that, right? Like, I think America is very progressive, and there's all the other countries that are, but like some countries aren't as much. And so for them to have this, especially now it's going to Mexico, it's going to the Latino, it's in Mexico, right? So that's gonna be huge for the Latinos. So I think it's incredible. I think the downside for Drag Race is the fandom, right? Like, I think people forget that it's a show, and it's a show is not real, right? Like, we are still people. I think some of the fandom can get really nasty, and I've had countless friends who've just been like, I mean, harassed, and it's disgusting, and it's terrible. And I think, you know, Drag Race taking a stand against that is what can help, and everyone speaking out against it can be helpful. That's the only negative thing that's the one thing that I think that is negative that I don't like, right? And so the girls are speaking up about it more, like we're getting more vocal. You're starting to see and hear like what types of things are happening to these girls, and so that's great. And hopefully through that conversation, like the kids can like just calm the fuck down, right? Like, because I think it's just they get a little too wild.
Is it mostly like on Instagram? I mean, just the trolls?
Anywhere. It's anywhere. Instagram,
Twitter,
Reddit, like all that stuff. Like, it's just like there's just, I don't know. It's like the young kids. I think they confuse this catty thing that we do with like it being real. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we're cattying like with each other, but like I know her and like we're friends and we are together, right? Like, so we can kiki and do things like that. But then there's this dark side. It's like this dark, nasty kind of, I don't know what that shit is. Like, it like keep that out. Like, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I think the whole thing is going to change at some point. Like the whole ability to comment, or I don't know, because it really is like, so like it happens to me like when I have guests on my show too, because like I have a lot of different, not just for Drag Race, Real Housewives and everything. It's like it's like, first of all, I don't know. Well, I don't know why you're coming at me. This is just my guess, but people
Yeah.
will literally go on about how much they hate someone, and you're just like, you don't even know this person.
Yeah.
They're actually my friend who's on the show today. Like, it's so I get it. It's. Did you ever fall into that? Like, did you ever? Because it's, you know, it's easy to go down that road. Like, did you ever read certain things and then go down that road, or were you just, because sometimes you go there until you realize you're either going to go crazy or you got to come out of it, or you just always kept it together and said this isn't real and just ignore it?
Yeah, so like I've been really lucky in the fact that like the kids that follow me and that are part of my community are amazing and loving and wonderful. I don't put up with any kind of talking, any kind of bullying in any way. If it's on my page, I will delete comments. If it's happening when I'm live, I will call it out and shoo them out. So like I'm very much of that. Comments and things like that, like I don't respond, right? Like I don't engage, right? Like, because I think I think that's what they want, right? They want to people say outlandish stuff and make things up and say all this crazy stuff for you to engage in, like blah 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 blah. So like you know, one of the things that RuPaul says in the beginning, before we even get there, we get this video, and one of the things is like she says, don't read the comments. And so like I really took that to heart, right? Like so I mean, I read the comments, obviously. You know what I mean? Like, I read the good ones. But if there's anything that starts to get a little whoop whoop, I just delete. I don't even read it.
Same thing.
You know, there's certain sites that I like. I don't engage. Like, I've never been to Reddit. I don't read that. Like, you know, so like, I'm not a part of those sites that kind of like really kind of tear the girls out. And like, I just, you know, we're bringing too much to this community, right? Like, we want to spread positivity and love. And we want to show that we're here. Like, our focus is just like beyond, like it's just beyond that. Like, and so to even play in that playground is like, that's not the tea.
That's good. And you think Drag Race as a whole should maybe make a statement or something? I mean, they seem to be getting better, right? But not official.
They have. I think they've said some things. Like I don't remember like specifically when, but I think they did say something like in the past, like something like that, which is amazing. And so like, and I feel like the conversations are happening. I mean, it's always been there, right? But I think as the world shifts, like we're starting to learn more about it, and the girls are speaking up about it more. So
that's good.
Yeah.
That's because you and I were bullied as children. I'm the same way. I don't allow, no, I'm serious. Like, I'm really against it. I don't allow anything on my page. At most, I will say to someone, they could say the most horrible things, and I'll respond and I'll be like, thank you for listening to my show. Like, I will never take it negative. It's just, or you'll get it. Before we go, so you share your apartment with your fiance. What COVID? Like, do we have any wedding plans? Do we have any dates? Like, what's going on?
I know. So we got engaged 3 years ago, and I was just about to audition for Drag Race. So I was like, if I get Drag Race, we can't get married because like I'm doing Drag Race, whatever. But if I don't, we're gonna get married. So like, we didn't plan it, and then this year happened, and we're literally like, well, now like, what the heck are we gonna get married? So I can tell he's itching, and so we haven't quite had the conversation. There isn't a date set yet. We do know that we'll be in California, all of our families there. So I think as we've learned like what's happening with the whole world situation and pandemic stuff, then I think we can like slowly, then we can start to actually like plan it, because he's amazing, and is like my best friend, and I have so much fun with him, and you know, I'd want to spend the rest of my life with him. So
that's what it should be like.
Yeah.
Do you want to have a big wedding, or you haven't gone and thought that yet?
I don't really want to, I'd rather buy a house than have a big wedding. But he comes from a family that literally is like, they got like 12 kids. It's like the Latino Brady Bunch. And so it's going to be a big wedding. There's no way around that.
That's fine. Well, you and I will keep in touch. I will DM you. I really appreciate you coming on. I know you're busy. You have readings today, so I appreciate it. Where can everyone find you online, or if someone wants a reading, tell us everything.
Absolutely. So you can find me at shugssweetshop.com. have all my tarot readings and merch there. And I'm on Instagram, Twitter. I don't do Twitter that much, but I'm doing TikTok now. So at Miss Sugarcane. So you can find me at Miss Sugarcane everywhere. But thank you so much, David. This has been so much fun. I really enjoyed talking to you today. And thank you for this.
I've enjoyed talking to you. Keep in touch. Thank you so much. Absolutely. Have a good day.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to yet another episode of Behind the Velvet Rope. Because without you listeners, I would just be a crazy person with voices in my head. And if you like what you hear, subscribe on Apple Podcasts under Behind the Velvet Rope. And when you're done subscribing, feel free to leave a 5-star write-up review, because the write-up reviews actually count. We read each and every one of them. We post the best ones, and the reviews really help our shows keep going, and we really appreciate everything you guys say, especially the positive ones. And if you want to find us online, we're at Behind Velvet Rope on Instagram. We are at David Yontef on Instagram. We're Behind the Velvet Rope on Apple Podcasts. Or head on over to Patreon, because you know what? There are just some things we can't talk about here. So for our bonus episodes, go to Patreon and type in Behind the Velvet Rope. And if you still aren't sick of me and you want more David, go to Cameo and book me on Cameo. And you can ask me anything there. I'll answer whatever you want. And I have a bargain basement price of $10. Thank you guys. See you soon.